welcome to the We Talk Health podcast, the official podcast of West Tennessee Healthcare. I'm your host, Kara Mobley, and on today's episode, we're going to be talking about our Alzheimer's Resource Center through our Senior Services Department. And on the show today, I have with me Regina Smith. She is the Senior Services Manager. Welcome back to the show.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here today.
Great. Yes. So I didn't interview you before, but I do see that we have interviewed you on this podcast before back in 2020. So that's been a hot minute there.
Yes. Lots happened since then.
So I know we talked in the past a little bit about Alzheimer's in general, just the disease itself, signs and symptoms to look for. And we also talked about the MAC Club. So I kind of want to go into a little bit of those as well, just to kind of give a recap. But then also you can give us, what's been going on lately and what this resource center has to offer.
Sure.
So how have you been since then?
Been fine. I've added a few responsibilities to my plate. In addition to the senior services, I'm now guest services manager. So I've got a lot of fun things going on within West Tennessee Healthcare.
Right. Yes. So in terms of the Alzheimer's Resource Center, I know you had mentioned that it's funded through the Pat Summitt. Give me a little bit of details about that.
We received a grant from the Pat Summitt Foundation about 3 years ago to begin the resource center within our department, and we are just so happy to have that. We are able to provide our community, and especially those families who are dealing with Alzheimer's disease and other dementias, with education and information that they can use as they're caring for their loved ones.
Great, yes. And so you said 3 years ago, so that actually is new since you last came on here.
That's right.
So give us information about the Resource Center. How can people get in touch with them and get those resources?
The Resource Center is located inside the Senior Services Department at 569 Skyline Drive. I tell everyone, if you turn off of Highland onto Skyline, it's the very first building on your right. We're on the second floor. We are open Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, 8:30 until 12:30, and other times by appointment by calling 731-541-8757. Kathy Hammond is on staff with us as our resource center assistant, and she is happy to meet you anytime and gather information for you to help you as you're traveling this journey we call Alzheimer's disease.
Yes. And so all the information you've just given me, I'll be putting in the show notes for this podcast. So whoever's listening, if you go to the show notes, you'll be able to get all this information. Right. So you have that as well. Now, what are some of the resources that are available there for people?
We have a lot of handouts that we have collected from different organizations throughout the state and throughout the country, including the Alzheimer's Tennessee, Alzheimer's Association, as well as other groups. And then we have a lot of books that we have purchased, and they are there for free. But we want to give those out to our members of the community. One of those being the 36-hour day. We call this the Alzheimer's Bible. It was written many years ago. That it's a great resource. It's not a book that you sit down and read cover to cover. It's something that you're going to look up different topics,
right? Okay,
different things that you might need assistance with that day. Bathing, particularly, behaviors, anything like that you just need some help and some guidance. It's included in the 36-hour day. We want our families to have a copy of that book. So we have many, many copies of the 36-hour day there to pass out. We have other books like Second Forgetting, Remembering the Power of the Gospel During Alzheimer's Disease. Religion plays such a vital role in our lives, especially here in the Bible Belt. And we want to continue that place in our hearts with our religion and spirituality. And this book is a great help for that. We also have one, Ministry with the Forgotten. That might help some church leaders in dealing with families, helping families that they are assisting as they are suffering with Alzheimer's disease. We have a resource guide that we publish within our department of just senior directory, where it has all kinds of different businesses and helpful hints that might assist with families as they're caring for their loved ones. We have caregiver books, just day-to-day caregiving that might be of assistance for those with Alzheimer's disease. And we're glad to get these in. We want to get these in the hands of those who are caring for their loved ones.
Right, exactly. And I know, just to recap what we've talked about on the podcast previously was, signs of Alzheimer's. I'm assuming you've got some of those where people can kind of, if you started to notice someone with the signs that, maybe, and we also, you had also in those previous podcasts mentioned that Alzheimer's is a form of dementia.
That's right.
Dementia is kind of a broad umbrella term.
That's right.
For,
exactly.
I guess, memory disorders or
if you're looking at dementias, it is problems within the brain.
Yeah.
And if you kind of think of dementia as a broad umbrella with several different spokes underneath it, one of those being Alzheimer's disease.
Right.
But there are many, many different forms of dementia that your loved ones could have. Alzheimer's being the most prominent one that we hear mostly about.
Right. And it is one of the more leading causes of death. And we definitely want people to have all the resources and help that they need. And I know through West Tennessee Healthcare with West Tennessee Medical Group, Neuroscience and Spine, that is one of the services that we offer.
Absolutely. We have a great resource in West Tennessee Neuroscience and Spine. Wonderful physicians over there that are really glad to help you and your family.
Yes. And I will also be linking their information in this podcast as well, so anybody can reach out to them if they're looking, I guess, to get someone in to be evaluated for that.
That's right.
Now, I also wanted to talk about, for caregivers especially, what are some tips maybe that you have, just maybe in the podcast, for especially when, I guess, if you've started to notice something in a loved one, you're maybe feeling overwhelmed before you've had time to come to the resource center. What are some things that can maybe help with helping that loved one, dealing with it yourself and helping them as well?
If you see some things that make you think, something's just not right here. If your loved one is having a lot of memory problems, of course, a lot of things are age related, but there is a difference. For an example, if someone loses their car keys, my goodness, I lose mine a couple of times a week. If you lose your car keys, if you can go back and locate those car keys, that's pretty normal aging. If you find the car keys, but you have not got a clue what they are for, that's a problem. It's just name recollection. That happens to all of us.
Yes.
But if you do not recognize a family member, that might be something that you want to check on. If you start seeing some signs, a lot of times you'll see signs with checkbook balancing, problems with spending.
Right. Financial things. That's a big deal.
Financial problems is a big warning sign. But if you see these kind of things and you want to get your loved one to a doctor, most of our physicians now are doing some testing that will probably help you to see where they might stand as far as if they're maybe developing some form of dementia. Then after you receive that diagnosis, if you go to the doctor and you get the diagnosis, then you need to learn everything you can about the disease.
Right.
And that's where we come in. We want to provide that education, that information for you.
Exactly. I mean, I know it can be very overwhelming. I mean, first of all, you're dealing with this person not remembering you. That's heartbreaking in a lot of ways, and you're just a normal person trying to go through your everyday life and then having to deal with that. So this is such an important resource that West Tennessee Healthcare has to help people navigate through the entire journey, like you said.
Absolutely.
Of all the things.
Yes. West Tennessee Healthcare is on board in providing our community with that information that we need as we are traveling this journey. We have a support group within our system. We meet once a month on the first Thursday of each evening, with the exception of July, because it always hits right on July 4th, it seems like.
Oh, yes.
But we do meet at 5:30 each month, the first Thursday of each month. And you can also get information about that support group by calling 731-541-8757.
Okay, great. So that's all part of, the main senior services line.
It certainly is. And we would love to have you join us for the support group. It's for caregivers. We also have a major conference. This year will be our 13th year to have the Alzheimer's conference. It's a caregivers conference. It will be on October the 29th. We have just scheduled Tipa Snow's group to once again join us to provide much needed education and information in their own fun way presentation. We're always so glad to have their group back, and they'll be coming back on October the 29th.
Right,
So
yes.
you'll be hearing more about that.
Right. Now, we don't have all the details just yet, but keep an eye out for our listeners, our website, our Facebook page. We'll have all the Eventbrite and event details on that closer to time.
Yes, thank you.
So people can get into that. Now, especially with especially for caregivers, anytime you're dealing with, I guess, when the emotions start to get, sometimes people get very angry or belligerent. What would you give some tips for helping or how to deal with when the person doesn't want to do what maybe you want them to do or they need to do,
The one thing that you need
things.
to remember is this is a disease, dementia of any form. The person with dementia, they're in their own little world. They cannot get out of that world. So you have to think of ways to enter to help them. So many times you want to argue or disagree. If someone says today's Monday and it's Tuesday, it's best just not to argue. Just, go along for the ride. It's okay.
Right.
It's okay. Sometimes if your loved one is just very set in their ways about something or getting upset about something, if you just leave the room and turn around and come back in 5 minutes, sometimes they're past that. And you can and go on with your normal day.
Right.
You have to choose your arguments.
Right.
It's okay that their outfit maybe doesn't match today.
Yeah.
It's okay. It's okay sometimes if maybe they might not need to take a shower right then, but they can wait, a few hours or maybe until the next morning. You, like I said, you have to choose the things that are the most important. Of course, medications, that kind of thing, very important.
Right, yes.
But there are some things that you can try to avoid a conflict with your loved one. Enjoy that time that you have together.
Right, right.
So it's okay. It's okay that sometimes they might think it's night and it's day. It's okay.
And I mean, I know it's something where it's like you can get really, really frustrated with this person, but like you said, it's a disease. They're not doing it on purpose, and it's hard when it's someone very close to you to not get your own emotions involved. So just knowing that, hey, I can step away from this. They're not, just always remembering that they're not doing it on purpose,
Absolutely. We've had examples, as we've discussed earlier, of your loved one wanting to go home. And they may be at their home, but they keep saying, no, I want to go home. Usually we find that when they say they want to go home, they're speaking of their childhood home.
Right, yeah.
And so it's hard to please them if you can't physically take them back to that home. Sometimes spouses might not recognize each other as spouses because they're thinking back to younger years. Great activity to do with your loved ones. Look back at old photo albums.
Oh, that's good, yeah.
Because short-term memory may not be with them as much, but the long-term memory sticks with them longer. You can pull out photo albums and they can help you tell you who all is in the pictures. And that can create hours of enjoyment together. We also encourage, in fact, we just did it support group just last week. We encourage you making new photo albums with your loved one. It's a great time together. Pull out some of those old pictures and some new ones and just do some fun activities with them. We also did an activity recently within our memory units. And then we sent it home with those of our support group where we have created some canvases for them to either paint or color or marker or whatever. It is remarkable. It's remarkable the art talent that remains within those who have Alzheimer's disease. Even the creative arts are just so strong within our minds.
Psyche, I guess. Yeah.
Yes, music. Music is one of the last things that you lose. I experienced Alzheimer's disease with my mother several years ago. Mother was a very talented pianist. Toward the end, when my mother did not recognize me as her daughter, I could still take her to a piano in her wheelchair, and she could play the piano.
Start playing, right?
Amazing.
That is
amazing.
That is amazing.
If you start to sing an old song
Mm-hmm.
that your loved one might recognize, they're going to be able to sing along with you.
That's great. Yeah.
So music is a huge avenue that you might be able to really cross with your loved ones and relate to them.
Right. And I can imagine if you don't have the tools and you don't have the resources and you're not sure, it can be so easy to just get frustrated and stay frustrated. And then the person is confused and scared and, maybe getting a little angry. But what you just said was if a person has those tools and those understandings of maybe give them something to do, put a photo album in front of them. I think even just for both people, the caregiver and the person going through it, it kind of takes you out of whatever stressful situation you were just in and gives you something tactile to do with your hands. So knowing those things is, as I can imagine, with any of the support groups and the resources,
Right.
is such a help.
Another thing
Even in like a very maybe tense situation
Yes.
to kind of just get everybody out of that.
Another thing that we do at the Resource Center, I have a group of ladies that give of their time and talents, and they make what we call fidget blankets. These are just lap pad type things that we pass out to those who need something to do with their hands.
Just do with your hand.
It's great to take along with you to church or to the doctor's office or something, and let your loved one just have something to do. We'll put
Right.
zippers, buttons, squeeze toys, that kind of thing on a lap pad. And we're glad to get those out to the people of our community that need those.
And that's such a great idea. Like I have had family members with Alzheimer's and I've never even thought of that or known that even existed. So that's great. Now, I know also we're going to shift a little bit to the MAC Club. So tell me a little bit more about that, kind of recap that for us.
Oh, the MAC Club. My goodness. The MAC Club is back up and going after we had a short little break with COVID.
Right.
COVID kind of stopped us in our tracks. But the MAC Club is a great group of folks. It's a group of folks over 50, service provided by West Tennessee Healthcare to our community. We want to reach those people who are over 50, keep them active and healthy
Right.
As they age, and by providing educational programs and fun activities and travel. We travel.
Keep people as young as possible.
Absolutely. We just returned just a couple of weeks ago from 10 days in Greece.
Oh, wow.
And we had a fantastic time. We go on a cruise in January. We have the cruisers, as we call them.
Oh, that's great.
A group of folks that would not miss the January cruise. So we leave the snow behind and we go cruising down in the Bahamas every January. We have got a few more trips this year. We're going to, in a few weeks, we're going to head out toward Oklahoma and Texas and visit the Pioneer Woman and Chip and Joanna.
Oh, yes. Love that.
And see all about that. And then come back through Hot Springs for the hot bath houses there and make our way on back to Jackson. We are going to Iceland in September. We've got a great group of folks signed up to go to Iceland. Then we're going to French Riviera in November, and we will end our year with a good old Christmas trip to Branson. So next year we'll see us going to Hawaii, Ireland, and Croatia, to name a few.
Great.
So we've got some great things going on. We want to keep you active.
Hey, man, nobody likes to grow older, but I'm over here thinking, man, I can't wait till I'm 50 so
That's
I can sign
right.
up for this
That's
club. So what is it? It's MAC. What does that stand for?
Mature Advantage Club.
Great, yes.
And there are some other benefits as well that we provide. Like I said, the educational programs and conferences. We just had a women's conference.
Yes, it was the beach party.
It was a beach party. We had a blast. Richard Simmons came by. Did some exercises with us, and we had a couple of our physicians here within West Tennessee Healthcare that gave up their time and provided some great information for the women who are seniors in our community. So we had such a fun time. We also do day trips. We are going up to see Vince Gill and Amy Grant for their Christmas concert once again this year. We're going to have an educational program on the services provided by Southwest Area Agency on Aging, and that will be coming, disabilities, that will be coming later this year. We have programs on Medicare.
Okay.
We have programs on some new health issues that are coming up for those in our age group.
So if anyone's got questions about Medicare, questions about health. I mean, it's so difficult to know where to turn, and that I know that's always a lot of information. So that's especially good to have, because where it's like someone can sit down with you and talk about that.
We want to help you with all of those choices. We also provide some discounts through medical center medical products, our gift shops within the hospital, and then our food court at the hospital.
Great.
So it's a great organization.
That is great. So how can someone find out more about that or get signed up?
The MAC Club by calling the same number.
Same number.
731-541-8757. And we'll be glad to mail you some information and get you signed up.
So we've got the Resource Center. We've got the MAC Club. We've got all kind of things going on in the West Tennessee area that people can take advantage of. Do you have any other info that you want to share that I haven't asked you about?
Oh my goodness. I can't think of
We've got all kind of, she brought all kind of resources in here. So that's really great that, and that they're free as well at the Resource Center. So yeah.
Absolutely.
And the MAC Club, I think, what did you say? It was
the MAC Club is $15 per year.
Per year.
Per
year. Okay, great. So yes, that is all such great information to have. And I'm glad that we got to sit down and meet with you again.
Yes. Thank you so much.
After 2020 and just, it's only been 4 years, but it seems like I think that year just went by and it felt like ages. So,
well, thank you so much. I really appreciate the opportunity to share with you what the Senior Services Department is doing for our community. I'm very proud of West Tennessee Healthcare and the way that we've stepped up to the plate to help the seniors in our community.
Yes, especially I'm super glad that this is around, because I mean, I think everybody has known or met someone or has a loved one that has dealt with some kind of dementia. It's all over the place. So it's glad to have this resource, and I'm glad to get this out to people.
Thank you so much.
All right. Yes. Thank you so much for coming by. Thank you for listening to We Talk Health. This podcast is not intended to replace any medical advice. Nothing said in this podcast is intended to supersede or supplement the direction of your medical caretakers. If you have any questions or would like to request a topic, you can reach out to us at wetalkhealthpodcast@gmail.com.